Welcome to Tansson TV Plus, of course. I am Brandon.
And I'm Mom.
Yes, and thank you so much for joining us. And today we're doing another season finale. And today we're discussing,
So Lopez versus Lopez.
yeah, so for a little bit about the series, it started in November of 2022 and thankfully has continued to present with a new season on the way. And so we're discussing the season 2 finale, both episodes. The first one, I believe, is Lopez is titled Lopez versus Confessions, and then which is episode 9, and then episode 10, Lopez versus George.
Yes. And Brandon, I'm going to give just a little bit of backstory in general about the series because you need that in order to understand a little bit about what happens in this particular episode. And so, just very brief background: George is Mayim's father. Maya and George are two of the main characters in this particular show. Maya is his daughter. I believe she's in her late 20s, early 30s. But anyway, George was the type of father that was not really there for his daughter. He was married to, of course, Maya's mother. Her name is Rosie, and they divorced early on. Maya kind of has bad memories of marriage in itself, and the bad image of marriage, and so basically at this point in time in her life, Mayan has a son, and his name is Chance, and she is living with her boyfriend, of course, who is Chance's father, and they've been living together for 8 to 9 years. And she's very close with her mother. And then, of course, George, her father, comes back into town, and so he ends up staying with them, and so their relationship begins to grow. And so, in the midst of all, just to go forward now, just a little bit, um, Rosie Rosie and George have been divorced for years. Rosie is engaged now, and this is Maya's mom, and she is getting ready to get married. And so we've had the last few episodes talking about Rosie and her new boyfriend slash fiance named Josue. Um, the other thing that we need to know is that George is a recovering alcoholic, and that was brought on very recently. They have a family owned business, and that kind of brings us up to where we are right now.
Well, Mom, thank you so much for catching us up to this episode.
Oh, you're welcome.
Add to that George and Mayan. Not only, I think do they play well as, father daughter, is that they are actually in real life father daughter and co-creators of the show.
Yes, yes. And they do a really nice job, I think, portraying this role.
Yeah, and if you're able to catch us up to speed with these two episodes.
Yep, and I'll be real quick about this one. Yeah, in this particular episode, as I said, that Rosie's getting ready to get married, and so George and Jose go out, and in the midst of them going out, George discovers that Jose has a little bit of a secret life, meaning that he has some other woman on the side. He is not happy about that, and so he knows he needs to tell Rosie about it. And he finds a clever way of he thinks he can kind of figure it kind of hear a little bit more about it. So he acts as though he's a priest during confession. And so everyone in the family must go into confession, as Rosie has said. And so everyone goes in, but he discovers some different things while he's listening to everyone. He discovers that Quentin, who is Mayan's boyfriend, really wants to marry Mayim. Mayim doesn't have a good image of marriage, and she says that during the confessional. But Josue doesn't really say anything about the extra people there. And so anyway, the whole family finds out that George is the one in the confessional, and they are all kind of mad at him. Once more, I said that George was a recovering alcoholic, and George kind of falls off the wagon at that point in time. But Rosie believes she actually does believe him. She doesn't know how or why he knows, and so she follows up with the girlfriend name that George gave, and then she breaks up with Josue. In the midst of all of this, Quentin's going back and forth trying to decide what he needs to do because he kind of wants to marry Maya. And so the he at the end of this particular episode, I'm gonna skip ahead just a little bit, but I will say at the end of the episode, it is not actually Quentin who proposes. It ends up actually being Mayim who proposes to Quentin. And that in itself, I tried to be as brief as I could, is the episode in 2 episodes in a nutshell.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, well, first of all, Mom, thank you so much for catching us up to speed.
Oh, you're welcome, Brandon.
But yeah, I mean, I think that this, two-parter episode are probably, and we've had some pretty strong episodes, throughout the 2 seasons, 32 episodes. But I'll say that these are probably two of the strongest, and like, and the nice blend of very comedic and very serious of probably the episodes we've seen.
I know. And I guess when you hear the description and how I describe it, it probably sounds like a drama, but it is not a drama. It's a comedy. It really is a very funny show. They've just tackled some serious issues this year, but it's a very funny show.
It is, and if you think about shows that can do that well, you'd probably be in no shock that the show was produced in part by Bruce Helford, who is the showrunner of The Conners and was a producer on Roseanne.
Yes, yes.
Because I'm sure you can see the little similarities in how topics are discussed and how in the blend of serious topics and comedy.
Yes, you really can see how they blend it very well together.
But but I mean, speaking about Lopez versus Lopez itself, I mean, something I like is that you're able to see what's that the healing relationship between mine and George, but then all the predicaments, whether just humorous or serious, that George manages to get himself in just a span of half an hour.
Yeah, it's amazing how many predicaments he can get in, and then he has a nice. I think they've done a nice job of developing the relationship between George and his daughter. They've done a really great job of having a good relationship between George and his grandson, and then of course his ex-wife.
Yeah, I really like, like I said, the relationship between all of them, and we're even starting to get one between George and Quentin as well. And that one's taking a little bit longer, but I like that there's at least some sort of mutual trust in there, and so I'm excited personally for season 3 to see it all like continue, and hopefully that Rosie's able to get a better romantic partner.
Yes, yes. And it'll be interesting to see whether or not they actually prolong the engagement of Quentin and Mime, or whether or not they'll just kind of come back married. So that'll be interesting to see what they decide to do with that.
Yeah, I of course obviously want to see it on screen. Question is, like, how, would I envision that like as a like a beginning of the season, the end of the season, or maybe like right before Christmas time? I guess we'll have to wait and find out.
Yes, we sure will.
But yeah, because season 3 comes out this October 2024. But I did want to backtrack a little bit to Josue, and so prior to this whole revelation, did you expect this? From him, because I certainly wasn't.
No, I was not expecting it of him because they were portraying him as being a very nice gentleman. We know it is a comedy, so something had to pop up with it. But I did not foresee this per se as his past. Because I think just the way they portrayed it, because it wasn't just one person, it was multiple people he was involved with.
Yeah, and so and I find it interesting too because they did very nicely build up to him throughout. I think the second half of the season. Yeah, just sort of seeing him pop up and his relationship between him and George, and the one I love is Josue and Chance's battle for Grandma's affection.
Yes, that was a really nice episode the way they did that.
But yeah, so I'm sort of sorry to see him go, but I like the way that it was revealed to us, the audience, and everything, especially like with the final confrontation with that. But I'm glad that for the season though, they ended with everyone sort of getting healing with in-house therapy.
Yes, yes, they did. That was an interesting portion to watch.
Yeah, and so as we're doing for our other season finales, I did want for us to go ahead and actually discuss. So, what do you want to see out of season 3?
That's a good question, Brandon. Like I said, I don't necessarily have to see the wedding prep. I think I'd like to see the reaction to the wedding. Um, so that's why I say it'll be interesting to see if they prolong it. And the reason I say that is because we've just had an engagement for this season. So I'm wondering if they'll just kind of come back married. Um, you know, and if so, then what is going to be the trigger? What's the big thing that will go on for this season?
Yeah, because I mean, because we see throughout like this season, for instance, George trying to get with his sobriety journey, and so even though of course he's getting back on that, I don't think that that'll be the focus of season 3. But I'm curious to see like maybe like if Married Wife has something else in store for Quentin and Mayan that wasn't just like how they were before. I guess we'll have to see and find out. But mom, the little theme intro changed this season.
It did. It did. It's a catchy little theme, but I like the fact that they are kind of reflecting back a little bit, and I don't know if it's creative and how they did it, but they show Mayim and George as younger images of themselves, and then going into their current image of how they look, and so it's very nice to see the father daughter. And like I said, I don't know if that's computer magic or if they just happen to have some shots that look like that, but I really like the way they have those images up.
Yeah, and in my personal thought, I mean, they seem like I said, real picture, and I like how they have like the before and after, and so I hope that they continue like changing it up every season. But if they have to keep with one, I hope they keep with this one.
Yes, I really like it.
Yeah, but mom, like I said, I always love doing these discussions. And is there anything else you want to mention for Lopez versus Lopez?
No, I'm just looking forward to the next season to begin. And I will say, even though, like you said, last season was only 10 episodes, they did a lot in 10 episodes. So I thought they did a very nice job.
Yes, I'm very excited for hopefully a full season for season 3, and we look forward to tuning in October.
Yes, we sure do. Okay. Now, I just want to thank everyone for joining us today.
And we look forward to chatting with you again soon.
All right, everyone, have a
See
great
you next
day.
time.
Bye bye.